that can't be shown, that can't be seen, can only be felt and experienced and lived. That's the abundant life. And we can all have that. It's for every child of God. It is available to every child of God. Listen, what Jesus said here in Matthew chapter 11. I'll begin at verse 27. This is Christ speaking. All things are delivered unto me of my Father, and no man knoweth the Son but the Father. Neither knoweth any man the Father save the Son, and he to whomsoever the Son will reveal him. Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. I've heard this preached so much as a salvation message. That's not what he said. He didn't say, come unto me, all ye that are lost. And it can apply to the lost, but listen what he's saying. Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. If you're laboring under something, if something is weighting you down, if something is eating you up, then come unto him. And he said, I will give you rest. He said, I will help you. I will take care of you. Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn of me. For I am meek and lowly in heart, and ye shall find rest unto your souls. For my yoke is easy, and my burden is light. When the problems come, when the troubles come, when these situations arise, and the circumstance, and the things that are eating you up and beating you up, what did he say? Just come to me. Just come to me. I'll give you rest. I'll give you peace. I'll give you joy. I'll give you what you need in order to get through it, in order to be victorious over it, in order to have that abundant life. But what we got to do is what he said to do. We got to take the hard things and do them. We got to take the hard thing and live them. This one I got to say again because God is burning it on me. He said, come unto me, all ye. All ye. This ain't to lost people. This is to everybody. Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden. There's people here bearing heavy load. There's people here that are laden down. There's people here that are burdened. And he said, come unto me, all ye that are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. And he's talking about a good night's sleep. He's talking about rest for the soul, rest for the mind, rest for the heart, that peace that only he can give. But you've got to come to him first. This just came on my mind. I got to read one more thing, if I can find it quick. Matthew chapter 21, verse 44. This is Christ speaking again. And whosoever shall fall on this stone. If you read before you get to this, he's talking about himself, the stone that the builders rejected, Christ himself. Whosoever shall fall on this stone shall be broken. But on whomsoever it shall fall, it will grind him to powder. Listen. On whosoever shall fall on this stone shall be broken. Well, that don't sound like a good thing. It is a good thing. The will is broken. The flesh is broken. Our will becomes his will. The power that the flesh has over you is broken. If you fall on Christ, just fall on Christ. I kind of get a mental image. Just take yourself and throw yourself at his mercy. Just fall on him. Here I am. Take me. Break me. Remake me, remold me. You all know about the potter when the vessel was messed up and it's broken. He didn't throw the clay away. He reshaped it. He reformed it. He made it into a vessel of honor. That's what he's talking about. Fall on a stone and be broken so that you can be remade into that image, into that vessel of honor, into that good thing. But God, there's something more to that. He said, whoever falls on the stone will be broken. And if you're broken, your will is broken, and the flesh is broken, and the power that it has over you is broken, and you can be remade into that vessel of honor. But he goes on and said, on whomsoever the stone falls will be ground to powder. It goes back to where I started. If you don't heed the things that God is teaching you and the places God is bringing you to, if you don't take it and eat it, what does it say? You'll go away backward. You will fall. You will be taken. You will be snared. It's the same thing here. You either accept what He's given and fall on Him and give it to Him and let Him remake you, or you're going to be ground to powder. I'm going to tell you something. It's one or the other. There is no middle ground. If you're a child of God, there's no middle ground. You're either going to go with God, and you're going to begin to follow the paths and the precepts and get to where God is trying to take you, or it's going to tear you up. It will eat you up. You will be miserable. I am telling you. I'm not telling anything that not supposed to be told, because Peg told this already, and you've all heard. Her prayer requests for Megan and Kyle at the church they go to brought them to a certain point and stopped. And they knew in their soul and in their heart there was more. But they weren't getting more, so they couldn't go any further. And now they're miserable. They're losing it. They've not been going to church. And they're beginning to doubt. And some of the stuff Megan told me that Kyle was saying, he's being ground to powder. He's being snared. He's being pulled away. You're either going to have to go with it, or you're going to be miserable. I'm telling you. It's just that plain and simple. If you can be content in one spot and never move and never grow and never gain and never learn, you better be doing some self-examination, because something's wrong. Maybe you were never even born again. If you can be content just sitting and growing roots in one position, something's bad wrong. Because according to what I read here, you have to learn and you have to grow. I read you what Paul said, and there's a lot more. Probably most of you know the scriptures, you're Bible readers. And what I read you back in the Old Testament, who shall I teach? Them that'll get off the milk. Them will I teach, and they can grow, and they will find rest, and they will get strength. They will have the comfort. They will have the peace. You can't just hang around in one spot. You have got to get it. And this scripture, you put all this together that I gave you, and this is what you do with it. Whosoever shall fall on this stone, fall on Christ. Just fall on Christ. Did you ever get to the point where there was just nowhere else to turn, and there was just nothing else to do, and you were just mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually exhausted, and you finally gave up and gave in, done what you should have done long ago, and you just fell on Christ? Said, God, here it is. I can't do anything. I'm tired of this. I can't handle it anymore. Do what you do. Man, it makes a difference. That's what we need to do. I kind of saw this message as help. But it's also a warning. What he said where I started. If you don't adhere to the precepts and to the things that God is teaching, you'll begin to go away. You'll begin to fall back. You'll get snared. You'll end up being taken. And this one here too. If you don't follow the stone will fall on you. And you don't want that. Because it will tear you up. It will. He said it the way he said it here. If you fall on a stone, you'll be broken. But if the stone falls on you, you'll be ground to powder. I'm going to try to summarize this and be done. Christians, it's just time. And I know I've said this a lot lately. It's time. But it is. It's time to go where God has intended for us to be all along. The church is not where God intended it to be. Christians are not where God intended them to be. And I know I say this a lot. But go back to the book of Acts and look at what they were. Look at who they were. Look at how they operated. Are we that? We're not. That's our example. The early church is what Christ set up how it was supposed to be. That's our example, and we're not that. Everything those disciples went through, everything the early church went through, you're not going to experience. They had it hard. They had it rough. They had, stuff that I can't even imagine going on. But look at how they came through it. They never quit. They never gave up. I don't read in there one place where they're woe is me, where they're oh poor pitiful me. They counted it an honor that they could suffer. Because, as Paul said, it conforms into the likeness of Christ. He walked this earth in human form, in flesh, and suffered, and dealt with things. And I preached that message a couple weeks ago, and I'm not going to preach it again. But he experienced everything you're going to experience. And you can be conformed to him. What does it mean to be conformed to something? To begin to act like, and to begin to live like, and begin to do the way he did. That's why he did it. So that you can do it. He showed you the way. He showed you how to walk. We've got to get to that place. And I know we sit around and we wait for revivals to change us. We wait for a moving of the Spirit to make us different, to empower us, so that all of a sudden we'll become these mighty saints. And we'll have big S's on our chest, and we'll go out and we'll beat up devils, and we'll win the world, and we'll do this and we'll do that. That ain't going to happen. You got to choose to do it.
Amen.
You got to make the decision to do it. The church has sat around and I even hear it preached. In the end, there's going to be this great worldwide revival. And the church is going to get on fire. And they're going to be able to call down fire from heaven. And they're going to be able to raise the dead. And they're going to do this. And they're going to do that. That ain't going to happen. All that power is available to you. All those good things of God are available to you. You can be super Christian if you choose to. It's available now. You don't got to wait for revival. You don't got to wait for a moving of the Spirit. You don't got to wait till Benny Hinn comes to town and waves his jacket at you. You don't got to wait till your check gets to whoever and they get it cashed. Then the blessings start to flow. You just got to believe God.
Amen.
That's it. It's that simple. I don't know. You're probably tired of hearing me say this, but I do not understand what is wrong with us when all this is available to us and we don't do anything with it. I know that for so many years the church has taught, that you just go to church and you put in your money and your name's on the roll when, if you're a good Christian and pay your tithes and everything, you'll have a happy life. And that's all Christians are supposed to be. And people, that's been going on for so long, that's what the mindset of the church has become. But we can't blame it all on that because we've always had the Word. We can read the Word. And we're supposed to read the Word. We're not supposed to depend on what that man says. We're supposed to know for ourselves. So we can't blame it all on that. And now that I believe, and I've said this for quite some time, it's because I believe it. I believe God has spoken it to my heart. God is building the last days church. I believe He is. And if we're going to be in that, we've got to start to adhere to these things. We've got to start to live these things. We've got to start to believe these things. And one of the most problematic things for the church being a witness and the church being a light and church being able to work the works of Him who sent us in this world, one of the biggest hindrances to that is how we live our life. We live miserably. I know I kind of mentioned it this morning and other times. Why would they want what we got when they look at how we act? When they look at how we deal with situations and problems? When they look at us and we're miserable? And we tell them about this great and mighty and awesome and powerful God we serve, but we're miserable. We need to walk in these things that he's talking about, no matter what's going on, no matter what's happening, no matter what the problem is. And we can. He said we can. And he showed us how to do it. And one more time I'm going to say it. No, you can't just decide it and it's going to happen. You got to put forth effort. There are things you have to make yourself do. When the problems come, you have to make yourself get your focus off them and get your focus on the things of God. When it rises up and eats up your mind, you've got to make yourself go to God the way he said, with thanksgiving, with praise, and make your supplication unto God. And you've got to do that because the flesh don't want to do that. The flesh will fight against doing that. The spiritual man has to overcome the flesh in order to do that. It is a battle. It is a warfare. That's why Paul describes it that way. You've got to fight against the flesh in order to do the things of God. But here's the thing. If you do, God will do what he said he would do. God does not, cannot, will not lie. And he said that if you do these things, you'll have peace. You'll have joy. You'll have contentment. You'll be able to walk through anything, over anything, no matter what is going on. He will keep your heart. He will keep your mind. He promised that. But you got to do your part first. I have heard, I might have said this morning, I don't know. I have heard so many people say that if you just pray and believe, everything will be sunshine and roses. The Bible don't say that. It don't. But he does promise that he'll go with you through it, that he'll give you peace in it, that he'll give you joy, that he'll enable you to overcome. He does promise all those things. Bottom line, whatever situation, circumstance, problem, issue, whatever, that's bringing you down, that's tearing you up, that you feel like you just can't make it, that you feel like you just can't do it. If you follow this, you can. If you just do what God says to do, he promised. You come to me, you learn from me and do what I have taught you, and you come unto me and take my yoke upon you, I will give you rest for your soul. I will give you peace. I will give you comfort. I'll give you your mind back. I'll give you your life back. I'll take away the misery. I'll take away the anxiety. I'll take away the depression and replace it with peace and joy. I'm not going to tell you that all the problems will go away, because they probably won't. But I will promise you what God promised you. Peace and joy will keep you through it all. That's it. I hope you understood. As I said this morning, the same thing happened. God took what I thought I was going to talk about and added to it, and I just had time to read over it and try to, I don't know if you can understand, but when he's putting it in here, it's hard to get it out here the way that he's putting it in here. And with the weakness of the flesh and my mind and the human language, it's hard. But if you listen to the Spirit, he will tell you what he wants you to know. That's it.